one of the most interesting and special Canadians that I know is Cornel Ceapa, who from the mountains of Romania to the shores of New Brunswick has carved a path towards sustainability. And what he and his wife, Dorina, have brought to Canada is that they have revived the sturgeon industry, but also they have created this world-class Canadian caviar. They put Canada on the map at a time when all the other caviar industries around the world, from Iran to Russia, have been depleted. There's no more wild sturgeon caviar in the world outside of Canada. And the only reason we still have it in Canada is because of Cornel Ceapa and Dorina Ceapa, who, armed with his PhD and his passion, his industriousness and entrepreneurialism, has been marketing this across Canada and around the world. And I think he is one of the most interesting aquaculturalists and conservation farmers that we have. And he is not only to be celebrated, but we have wine, we have caviar, and we have Cornel Ceapa here from New Brunswick. And I'm thrilled that we have the opportunity to talk with him now.
Hello, Adam. Hello, Sara. I'm so excited to be here, hailing from St. John, New Brunswick, where I am now under a little bit of a snowstorm outside, but it's good to be here.
Well, hello, Cornel. It's nice to see you again. When was it? Last spring that I visited with you and your wife, Dorina, at the Restaurants Canada show, and your booth, Acadian Sturgeon, was one of the most popular in the whole place. Would you agree that caviar is becoming more and more common in restaurants now and more common on our own menus?
It does. It does. Unfortunately, we still have a lot to go, in my opinion. I think caviar, it's a little bit in a darker spot because the way we treat the fish, it's sad that first we finished all the wild pretty much, except in Canada. That is something that for me as a person who really loves sturgeon, it's sad. And also even the farmed caviar, it's not really farmed for quality, it's farmed a lot for money, So we humans, I think we go into that issue, when it gets very interesting that everybody thinks that let's do it, let's make more money. For me, it's really a question of passion. That's why we have the last wild caviar in the world. And when we farm the sturgeon, we farm it to the level of the wild. So that's why we have wild and farm side by side and striving to do the same quality, if not better, from the wild.
Well, I've been to your hatchery in Carter's Point, and I found it fascinating. I brought my son there, and each area had a different size fish, because I think they have to be at least 10 years old before you can produce caviar from them, right?
Yes. It's not an easy business. It's probably one of the hardest business in the world. And of course, it is a question of when you produce food, any kind of food, we need to strive to do quality, not quantity. And that's what we are doing. We compare wild and farm, and I do believe that we are doing it well. We've been doing this for 20 years. We have less than a month to when March the 2nd, 2005, we started this business. And we are not there yet, but we see the light. We see we are really happy, and we feel more confident that this is it. We are doing something very, very special, very, very unique in the world. And lately we've been launching, and that's something that I'll invite you, Sara, to come to our opening, because the fall of this year, we are going to open a big, like a tourist building, similar to what wineries have, like a tasting building.
Where?
And that's where we are going to do this education side by side, wild and farm. It's going to be an attraction. It's going to be like a tourism anchor here in New Brunswick, because we believe that producing food without educating people about how it's made, where it's made, why it's sustainable, and so on, it can be just a story on paper, Yeah. But when people see it, that's when we realize that this is real. This can be done.
Well, I want to say that, first of all, March 2nd is an auspicious day because that's my dad's birthday.
Amazing. I was, when I met the first time Sara, I remember, and she told me that when she was younger, not younger, because she's young now as well in spirit. She was working a little bit of caviar and wrote cookbooks and things like that about caviar. So sometimes you wonder if things don't happen for a reason. The fact that we met and you guys are helping me spread the word about Canadian Sturgeon and Caviar. Maybe this is something that is not it's not completely or hazard. There is a reason why
it's karma.
But
I recall when you were first starting to sell your products in Toronto. I don't remember how we met. I don't remember who introduced us.
I don't know either. I know that we had a couple of dinners together at Oyster Boy and another restaurant.
Yeah, maybe there. I don't know. But I was so impressed with your caviar. And I introduced you to some high-end restaurants in the city. And your product and your brand began to appear on menus, now on Michelin star menus. And that's for a reason. That's because it's a good product. So I was at the Chateau Frontenac in Quebec City, for example, and their restaurant is out of this world. And they serve a caviar service, and it's yours. And
of course, yes.
An extravagant presentation with the fruits and the vegetables and all. I was so excited I took a picture. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We love what we do. We really walk the talk, so to speak. And again, the most unique caviar in the world. And the way we do it, I do believe that we are blessed to be able to do it in here in New Brunswick in an environment that is pristine, that is clean, and species that we raise are native. They are from us here. Again, it is a blessing. It is really. But
you mentioned the importance of education to go along with it. When I was a kid, I never have tried caviar, but I came to New Brunswick a few years ago with my son, who at the time was 8, and you introduced him to caviar, and I thought, he's not going to like that. Don't waste your time. You gave him such an education that, unfortunately for me, he loved it. And I mean, I remember coming home afterwards and saying, I'm sorry, son, we won't be able to put caviar on your scrambled eggs this morning. But you introduced him to the 3 different kinds of caviar that you have. And I think it's so true that the education and the context, rather than just trying it without context, is so important. And that's a major aspect of what you do. You have the master class, you have the 2-day course, you have so many different programs that are as delicious and enriching as they are educational.
Yeah, it's a little bit, when you think about, we all talk about exporting and shipping products all over the world and everything. But nowadays we are more and more cautious about, our carbon footprint and everything. And I believe strongly that it's nice to have some products that are unique to the area where they are produced and keep them local. Because when you bring people in to experience your product, the benefit for the area is like tenfold. The people who come to visit, to try your product, to experience your how you farm sturgeon and caviar, for example, they will stay in a hotel, they will go to visit other restaurants, other businesses around. So it is actually a benefit. We all think this globalization, it's good for business people. But when you do it, tourism actually spreads a little bit the wealth to everybody, because everybody benefits. There is a local employment, there is, hotels, there is other restaurants, there are tour guides, and so on. So I do believe that, especially in those crazy times that we are living, it's important, more and more important for Canada to bring people in, to show them how we are different, how we are sustainable. I was listening to your previous guest about, wines, and Canada has amazing wines. I'm using, I do tours, I do tasting for a lot of American people who come and visit. And I tell them, I said, I'm a professional caviar maker, and I'm a dilettante and learning sommelier, because I present a lot of local wines. And I agree that Canada has amazing, especially red and rosé wines, and we need to sell them. We need to introduce them. We need to show people how it's made. We need to, and the fact that we have a cooler climate is actually great, because it does make everything more natural. When you keep everything like warm and nice out of this harsher climate, I think come amazing product, because
and also
as
climate is changing, there are more emerging wine regions. So for example, New Brunswick is becoming a wine region. I visited a winery there, but also Nova Scotia. You've got some of the most wonderful sparkling wines in the world. Benjamin Bridge has their Nova 7, which is, I think, my favorite. And all of that pairs with caviar.
Of course.
Perfectly.
Of course. Yeah, no, it's a lot of the red wines, the rosés. I'm using a Brut Nature Rosé from Benjamin Bridge in my tasting menu. I'm using actually from Niagara Riesling Rosé, which all the people are, wow, Riesling
Rosé.
Riesling, not Riesling Rosé, sorry, Riesling Bubbly, Riesling Sparkling.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I apologize. Sparkling, not a Rosé. I had my Rosé in my head. But Riesling Sparkling, which is, again, the Riesling in Germany, because the climate change becomes sweeter now because the climate is warmer, But Canada has really like a Brut sparkling Riesling, which everybody is like, wow, this is unbelievable. And it works really well with our sturgeon ceviche, for example, So, yeah, it's a thing you'll hear more and more in the tourism about us, because we believe it. Again, it is almost like closing the circle. I do believe that this, a producer without explaining, we are the best to explain to customer how it's made, what is made, and everything, and why we do it differently, and we need that. Most of I think the future of the tourism is going to be this learning, educational tourism about.
But also the sustainability. Like we all know Maine or Massachusetts for lobster. I don't think they have any more lobster. But if you go to New Brunswick or Nova Scotia, there are more sustainable fisheries and hatcheries, and more education, more diversity in what they're doing with them. So, for example, I have a menu of yours in front of me right now, and for people who just think of caviar as being on its own, I'm looking at this. You have miso marinated wild sturgeon, birch syrup marinated farm sturgeon, along with lemon seared wagyu. You have white chocolate panna cotta with smoked sturgeon ice cream and caviar. I mean, that is totally outside the box. So
I'll be there tomorrow.
Please come. We have an amazing chef, a really chef who is in our staff, in a certified chef de cuisine, And at the end of those tours that we do for talk tours from United States, from all over the world, people are applauding. They ask him to sign menus and everything, and it's like you feel like people are happy, because I do believe food has lost a little bit the wow, by having this industrial food, and even the seasonality of the ingredients has disappeared. We bring food from the other hemisphere. We bring bananas. We don't have an expectation or waiting. Before, when we were young, we were eating bananas only like a week or two a year, right? And you are waiting for that moment. Oh, the bananas are coming. Now everything is there, and it's very little to make us wow, to make us excited. You walk into a store, I don't think that people can get any more excited about what they see, something that they never had, for example. And that's how I position myself. I say, look, it's not we don't eat it a la louche with a big spoon, small amounts, but something special, like we did for celebrations.
The corollary of that is there are foods that I'm really not excited about. I don't ever need to eat tuna again. This is an overfished fish, and people don't think of the seasonality of fish. But one of the things that you do is you pay attention to the sleep cycles of the fish. And, fish have cycles just like any other species.
All nature,
There are times, I used to be on the board of, I think I was on some board of Ocean Wise, which is, it's so important for people to think of what time of year they're eating a certain protein, and is it
Yeah.
appropriate to be eating it then? And when we think of what is Canadian product,
Yeah.
and how do we sustain that, especially at this time when there's all this concern about tariffs and buying Canadian, you have something that is quintessentially Canadian, and it's just true that Canada is a cornucopia of ingredients. So if you're in Saskatchewan, you're not going to be having caviar, you'll be having lentils. And what they're doing out there, they're making lentil beer, for example. But if you're in New Brunswick, or if you want a taste of New Brunswick, there's no truer taste of the merroir than your caviar. And I think that's a very special thing that we can all be proud of as Canadians.
We support everybody around us, and we believe in what we do. And again, wild and farm together, because wild is not enough. We are going to finish it. If we continue to take only the wild, we are going to completely finish it. So we have to be
what's the end goal for you? Like with sustainability, I think there is no end, but what is your objective?
My objective is to produce, again, if we finish all the wild in the world, if we only farm caviar, we'll get to a point that people who ever ate wild product are gone, and they will not know what caviar should taste like, right? How the real product tastes like. For example, if I do a sparkling wine, I would want myself to compare with the best champagne in the world to make sure, you always, even as a person, you need a quality standard. You have people who you look up to, you have models and so on, So it's the same for me. For me, the real mantra is produce a farm sustainable product from local species, not to bring species from other parts of the world. Everybody thinks Osecha, beluga, and whatever. Those are overfished. They are gone. And right now we farm them in bad conditions and so on. We have a natural wild population that is thriving. We can harvest from it. We have a quota. Every fish is tagged individually. You saw how we treat the fish,
Yeah.
And then when we farm them to the level of quality, and we give them a good life, and they have a bad moment or a bad day, like all of us, like everybody, But because we give them a good life, they will give us very good products. And that's really my thing. I'm comparing wild and farm all the time. So I'm doing a farm product as good or better from as the wild. I was just reading a message right now from Elora Mills in Ontario. They open a beautiful caviar of farmed Acadian gold caviar, and they said, "Wow, that was amazing." So there are restaurants, like in Pearl Morizette, many of the Michelin stars that are using a lot of my caviar. And I told them, I don't use it just for me, because you need to. The important thing in restoration is to have a good business, to basically pay well their employees, and make people happy. So you make people happy, you take their money, everybody is happy, and they'll come back for something special. And it starts with the ingredients. Everybody says, half is service, half is the chef, like producing. Actually, it's very important to have also very good ingredients. So I do believe it's like 1/3 the ingredients, 1/3 the back of the house, 1/3 of the front of the house. All of us, we can make people happy with.
Well, you've made me very happy, because right now I have some toast. My mom baked a wonderful bread, and on this toast I have a sturgeon from you, smoked sturgeon.
Yes.
And on top of that is a little bump of caviar from you, the emerald caviar.
Yes. I do believe the emerald right now is the best. Actually, I'm out of stock of the wild because it's seasonal. We have to accept seasonality, enjoy. And I will enjoy. I will raise a glass. I will raise a glass to you, Sara, and to you, Adam. You guys been amazing friends and supporters for our small family business. We believe in what we do. We have our son who works with us. We have 11 employees right now, and we are growing. And
you have employees.
Yes.
Always.
And your son's name is Michael, right?
Michael, yes.
Yeah. So you, Dorina, and Michael, that's such a wonderful thing. I love the idea of family business. Oh yes, because I work with my mom.
Exactly. No, it is important because we do things from heart. It's not just a business for us. It's not just a business. It's not just doing it. We do it because we believe in it. That's very, very important. And
how many restaurants do you think offer your caviar in Canada?
It's hard to say right now. It's variable. But what I noticed after the pandemic is that the restaurants who get it, they increase their use dramatically.
Wow.
Like, for example, we have restaurants like Per Morizet or Garde Manger or Tanière in Quebec City. Some of the best restaurants probably in Canada, that they use like half a kilo to a kilo a week.
And in Toronto,
wow.
Oh, in Toronto, we have a lot also
Many.
as well, a lot of restaurants, from Canoe to you name it. But it is, again, I tell them, you need to upsell. You need to always add it up. Don't leave money on the table. Make sure that you make people happy, and also you take care of your business, because businesses have to be sustainable. Sustainability is not just a question about wild animals. The business also has to continue to do well for their employees, for their shareholders, and so on. So I do believe we are all in the same boat, so to speak, and we need to help each other.
It used to be in a restaurant, if they had a few grains of a few little pearls of caviar, and then the price would go up on whatever it was you were eating, and you ate it and it didn't taste of anything, and you thought, what's this all about? It's because it came, I don't know, from who knows if it was even caviar.
Yeah. It's a lot of bad product out there. A lot of bad product there. You wouldn't believe. I don't want to be negative, but I tell people when I do tastings, I tell people if they ever tried caviar. And if they hesitate, I said, okay, let's draw the line. After this time that you are tasting my caviar, you'll remember. You'll know until the end day of your life that you tried caviar, because it's going to be memorable.
Yes.
A real caviar should be memorable, should be tasty, should be a long aftertaste, should be pleasant. It's not an acquired taste. Some people say caviar is an acquired taste. I say, yeah, bad everything is an acquired taste. You hope to get used to it and not die, But the reality is that a good product, kids, Asher, he was impressed. I remember you had the video of him, and he was so into it. And you taste it, you like it. I mean, kids they don't have this idea of lying and putting stuff. They will tell you right away. What?
But it has to do with the quality as well.
100%.
And the context in which he received it. But what I think is amazing from my perspective, having grown up, having an image of caviar as an aspirational indulgence from Iran or Russia, and that doesn't exist anymore. They have no more wild, it's all farmed. And that Canada, more specifically you, are the only producer of wild sturgeon caviar in the world. I think every Canadian should know this, because it's something that we should all feel proud of and that we should all support.
Mm-hmm.
And again, don't feel it's like you could feel like a black sheep. Why should we take it? Some people tell me, why would you have? I said, why would you take anything? In nature, everything is connected in an ecosystem. You cannot say, I'm protecting this, not protecting that, not protecting this. It doesn't mean that we need to harvest equally sustainable. If we harvest something, we have to make sure that we are not detrimental to that nature balance in the ecosystem. If we take the shrimp to do omega-3s, if we eat too many pills, or whatever, if those are not sustainably harvested, that's going to be even worse than eating all the bluefin tuna in the ocean, because bluefin tuna is the top of the food chain, while the little shrimps are the bottom of the food chain, and that everything will crumble. You have to take it with a grain of salt. You have to know about sustainability. I do believe it is a word that is misused a lot, and a lot of people kind of greenwash stuff around them. People think caviar from Russia and Iran is the best in the world, because for the last 100 years, they were the only one in the world. If you are the only one in the world for 100 years, you are the god. Nobody knows anything else but that thing. Canada and United States used to supply most of the caviar in the world in 1900, but they overfished it in that time, 1860 to 1900, And but we have it here, and it's in a good shape, and I'm the steward. I will protect it with my life, and I'm sure that we do things the right way. And watch me, come and visit. We are transparent. As I say, this tourist thing, it's very exciting for me, because it's going to be something like unbelievable, like unique. I have it only on papers right now. I'll send you some drawings from the architects, but we are putting the foundation in beginning of April, end of May, depending on the weather. And by the fall, we'll have a $2.5 million building, amazing for like tastings and tourists and everything. Invite celebrity chefs to learn about our products and do tasting menus there and so on. So I'm very excited about.
Well, that would be fantastic, and I certainly look forward to visiting.
You come anytime, and you, Sara, the same. Cheers.
Thank you so much,
I hope
Cornel.
you enjoyed the caviar. I hope you enjoyed the caviar.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely. I'm enjoying it now.
Excellent.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yes. Thank you very much. Happy Valentine's Day. All the best. And I love the introduction about love. I'm blessed also, me and Dorina, to be high school sweethearts. And I know that that is a blessing. That's really
Well,
a blessing.
cheers to you both, to you and
Cheers.
Dorina.